Hello, and thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Bridget Sexton, and I am the Railroad Product Manager for ThermOmegaTech. Today, I'm going to present our products for railroad, which offer solutions to avoid freeze damage in both locomotives and passenger cars. Locomotive freeze protection is an essential element of many rail operators' maintenance plans each year. During frigid winter months, diesel locomotives' cooling systems are at risk of freezing when the engines are turned off. The cooling water freezes and it causes the system's lines to crack, resulting in extensive damage to the locomotive, lengthy repairs, and interrupted schedules. And what is thermostatic technology? So I'd like to discuss that here and give you some information about the product and how it works. We were established in 1983, and we've been protecting diesel locomotive cooling systems since then. And over the past few years, we're excited that now have expanded to the passenger car rail sector to protect water-bearing systems. The water sensing guru automatically responds to the engine's coolant temperature. When the water temperature falls to the guru's set point, the plug snaps open and it drains the system before it can freeze. The plug can be rearmed and reset when you're ready to refill the locomotive and return it to service. In our hot position, the wax is in a liquid state, and that's an extended position, and that's at and about above room temperature. In the cold position, it's in a hardened state. Therefore, the valve reaches a set point between either 35 or 40 degrees, and it causes the phase change to open, which then releases the valve to dump the water. The thermaloid paraffin wax blend has the range capability between 15 Fahrenheit and 300 Fahrenheit. That means we can formulate paraffin wax blend between those degrees. And our typical rail freeze protection temperatures are either 35 or 40 Fahrenheit. So what are the benefits of this technology? For one, it's self-powered. The thermaloid wax material is what actuates the valve. It can be located virtually anywhere. It's very versatile. There's no electric power required. When power is unavailable, this is a really wonderful feature. It's also green technology. It's maintenance free. So it's a set it and forget it. As long as you're following the maintenance instructions and it's working within its useful life of 18 to 24 months, it's pretty much maintenance free at that point. It provides predictable actuation temperatures. It's a very simple design, and it's adaptable to rail systems and configurations, various in those areas. It has a very high power to weight ratio of 57 pounds, and the actuator itself weighs less than a pound. So that's actually very impressive for this valve's capability. We're the #1 trusted locomotive free protection valve in the industry for all Class 1s. The Guru plug continuously monitors water temperatures. If the water temperature in the locomotive engine cooling system falls below its set point, which I mentioned before is between 35 or 40 degrees, depending on the valve, in that case, the Guru plug will automatically snap open and it'll drain the system before it can freeze. After the valve activates, the cartridge can be then heated in a dry state and reinserted with the hex nut into the locomotive for service. In order to help with that, we recommend the Guru flagging clip or flagging key refill tools to prevent triggering the Guru during the cold refill process. The Guru comes in the DL 2.1 and the Magnum size, and the difference between the two of those is that the Magnum is a little bigger and it can actually drain the system in twice the time. We have a short video showing the demonstration of our Guru plug. And what you're going to see in this video is how the Guru plug reacts to water temperatures, how it drains, and how easy it is to reset.
Hi, thanks for joining our demo. Today we are going to show how our Guru plug works. Our Guru plug is our locomotive freeze protection valve. These valves are installed at the lowest point in a locomotive's engine cooling system to keep the water tanks from freezing. So all of our valves are self-actuating, and what that means is that this valve is going to sense the water temperature in the tanks, and is going to automatically snap open to drain the water tank once it reaches the valve set point. Right here we have our Guru DL 2.1 valve in a crossbody. This valve is set to 35 degrees. So what we're gonna see in this demo is we're gonna put water into the top here and we're gonna use our freeze spray. And once this temperature gets to 35 degrees, the valve's going to pop open and drain the tanks. Okay, now I'm going to spray the freeze spray, and you're gonna see the temperature gauge drop down to 35 degrees. Once that happens, the valve will pop open and drain the water. Now the water is drained from the system, and as you're gonna see here on the valve, the actuator is flat. So what happened here is the actuator sensed the water temperature, it got to the valve set point of 35 degrees and popped open. What you can do next is reinsert this back into the system once you're ready to get your locomotive back up in service. How you're gonna do that is to warm up this cartridge and then reinsert it back into the hex nut. So typically on a rail yard, a lot of maintenance personnel throw these into their cars or something to kind of get them warmed up quickly. Here I'm just gonna kind of use my hands and get it back up to temperature. But you're gonna see that this, the thermal actuator piece here actually starts to rise and it's going to pop back out. And once the penny pincher here is popped out, that's when you know it's ready to get reinserted. Okay. So it's definitely popped out, and I think we're ready to get this reinserted. So what we're going to do is use our Guru flag and clip. This is our Guru flag and clip tool. We recommend using this when refilling your locomotives to get your Gurus rearmed and the locomotive back into service. How this works is this is the clip, and this would actually go over the penny pincher of the cartridge. And the flag actually just gets attached to the outside of the locomotive. There's a magnet on it, and it's available with or without a strobe light, just to serve as a visual indicator that your Gurus are being rearmed. So what you would do is you would slide the clip over the penny pincher of the valve, and then you can just reinsert it into the hex nut. There we go. And now the Guru is rearmed, and you're ready to refill the locomotive cooling system with cold water. The reason you have to do that is if you just started putting cold water and you didn't have something holding that penny pincher, that valve is going to continue to sense the water temperature and would pop open again and drain the tank when you don't want it to do that. So we recommend using this tool to keep that from happening. Other ways maintenance personnel have done that in the past is with a penny or a washer. The problem with that is if you forget about that and then it gets stuck in there and you take the locomotive out into service, then that valve could be prevented from popping when it really does need to, which could cause a freeze up again. So that's why we recommend using this tool, because it's got the flag. It'll be very obvious to anyone, any maintenance personnel, that the locomotive is being worked on, and then you would just remove this. Once your locomotive's turned on, the water's warmed up enough, and you're good to go and get back into service.
So next, I would like to discuss the Guru PC. That's our passenger car freeze protection valve. As I had mentioned earlier in the presentation, this is newer for ThermOmegaTech. We just recently, in the last few years, introduced this product. The operation of the product is another area of freeze protection, and it monitors ambient temperatures. So the line of PC Guru passenger car freeze protection valves are self-operating thermostatic drain valves that protect potable water systems from freezing. They monitor the ambient temperature as mentioned. They will automatically drain the water tank if the temperature falls below that set point at 35 degrees. That will prevent bursting pipes and frozen tanks. In addition, ThermOmegaTech recommends using our electric heater assembly to quickly close the valve after activation to get the car back up in service as soon as possible. We have another video demonstration with the PC Guru. And in this demonstration, you're going to see how the PC Guru reacts to the ambient temperature and drains the water at its reached set temperature of 35 degrees, along with the heater assembly. This video is going to demo exactly how that works and how quickly it closes the valve. The one thing I do want to note before we do see the video is that in using the PC Guru heater, the refill time is about 5 to 10 minutes. And without using the heater, then the refill time is typically then 3 to 5 hours.
So today we're going to be demoing our two valve sizes that we have. We have the 3/4 inch Guru PC over here, as well as our 1 inch Guru PC. The main difference between the two is just going to be the flow. The 1 inch Guru PC offers double the flow. So what we want to show you today is how our thermal actuator technology works. It senses the ambient temperature rather than the water temperature. So when the valve set point as 35 degrees Fahrenheit, when the ambient temperature gets to that set point, it's actually going to modulate the valve open to drain your potable water tanks before any freeze damage can occur. So we'd like to show you how that works today. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. Both of these here. Perfect. So now we're going to show Glenn using a quick freeze spray to simulate ambient temperatures getting close to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And what this is going to do is going to modulate the valve so that it's open and the potable water tanks will drain. So Glenn, if you want to go ahead and spray that actuator, and let's just show how the valve works without any power or any electricity. So here you can see within seconds, the valve modulates open to drain your tanks before any freeze damage can occur. So it's very quick acting. So how do you get your potable water tanks refilled and back in operation as quickly as possible? Well, we've actually developed a heater that acts as a cold water refill tool. So I'm going to have Glenn demonstrate how this heater works. So what it's going to do is it's going to heat up that actuator to close off the valves so that you can refill your tanks without anything any water draining. So once it's plugged in, you're going to see that there are two indicator lights. The first indicator light is going to show that the power is on, and the second is going to show that the heater is working. So here you can visibly see that the heater is working and the power is on and it's functioning properly. We do offer two different heater options. We have a 120 VAC, 74 DC dual voltage heater, as well as a 230 VAC heater. These heaters are self-limiting, so you'll never overheat your actuator. So we hope that this was educational and you learned more about how our valve and heaters operate to protect your investments in your passenger cars. Thanks again for tuning in, and now back to the presentation.
So at this time, I'd like to discuss our rebuild program. ThermOmegaTech offers a rebuild program so that customers can replace their Guru 2.1 or Magnum products. They are completely refurbished to a like new condition, and that also ensures that you have optimal performance in the field between the 18 and 24-month recommended time frame for exchanging the valves. And it also offers you a discounted price. So how the program works is our valves are returned with a purchase order to the facility. The components are scrapped except for the cartridge body and the hex nut. The new thermal actuator and components are then assembled into that cartridge, and it's 100% tested and inspected. The hex nut is assembled and inspected as well, and then it's reinserted, and we do another 100% final pop test before it's sent back out again. In regards to the PC Guru, we offer a replacement cartridge kit. So therefore you would just order that, and that is also at a discounted price. So you can just swap that cartridge in and out for itself. We do not actually take the product back in-house and refurbish it. I'd like to point to the bottom of the screen where it's going to show you our color cap visual indicator. And it shows on the cap itself the manufacturing date as noted by the arrow. We have 5 colors that rotate over a season we've changed our season now to start September 1st to October 31st. That's a change that will be in effect this September. Typically, we had our color coding charts begin in January and end in December. Another interesting enhancement that I would really like to point out, and we're very excited about, is that now not only is the color cap going to indicate the rebuild time frame and the useful life of the product, but we also have a painted stripe on our hex nut, and that's going to match the cap. So it's going to help you ensure that the whole part is actually swapped out at the same time, which is recommended in our maintenance standards. At this time, I would like to thank everybody for joining us. I hope that you came away with some very useful information about ThermOmegaTech's products and how they may be a benefit to you in your organization. You can see at the bottom of the screen, you can contact us on social media through Facebook and LinkedIn, YouTube and Twitter. Also, our website is very useful, has a lot of product information. So I think at this time, we're going to open up to questions and see if anybody has anything that they are interested in having me answer right now. So I have one that just came up. How do I know when to send back the Guru PC valves for rebuild? And that's an excellent question. We recommend changing the Guru plug every 18 to 24 months. And that's because the characteristic tendency of that Guru plug actuator is it loses a small amount of stroke as it ages past 1 year. This really is really important because to keep the valve functioning properly. So the loss of the stroke is going to affect the temperature release. And that's obviously very important for the full function of the valve. And I think that answers that question. Okay. And we have another question. What temperature does the valve need to be heated to in order to be reset? And that's also a very great question. It needs to be 55 degrees to be heated to 55 and reset then. And here's another that just came up. Should the valve be reset if it's wet? Absolutely not. When rearming the Guru, any ice or water should be removed from the cartridge and inside the hex body before reinstalling. That will prevent seal damage. And so if it can be reset completely dry, that would be the best recommendation there. Well, if there are no further questions, again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much for joining us, and you have a good afternoon.